The next thing we're going to do to get our file set up is to create clipping masks for each of our objects. And I do have a video that's an intro to clipping masks that you can check out, but I'll go over this briefly here. So I want a clipping mask for each of these objects. Click on my first layer, which I called shell cutout, make a new layer, and on the new layer above shell cutout, I'm going to right click and choose create clipping mask. And I get the little 90-degree arrow telling me that that's a clipping mask. I'm going to rename this to shell color. Okay, so clipping mask called with the word color in it for each one of these. I'm going to do that for the cat cutout and the glass cutout, and I'll pause the recording here just to save us some time on recording. But I'm going to do the same procedure for each one. Okay, I'm back here again. What I did was I created a new layer above each cutout layer, and I made it a clipping mask and stuck the word color in there so I know what's going on. So for example, as I'm painting this, let's just take a look at where our objects are, right? So that's where our objects are. So for the shell color, let me enable the shell color layer. Just for this demo, I'm going to just sample a color out of the shell. It's actually better to establish a color palette, but I got this like tan layer. And just so I don't get lost, let me turn this off here. B for brush tool. So just you have to be mindful of just what layer you're on. So on the shell cutout layer, let me turn down the opacity because that's really ugly. So here I can now paint on this layer, and only the it's hard to talk and do this stuff at the same time. I'm sorry. The color is constrained, by this shell cutout thing. So because it's a clipping mask. Now if I release the clipping mask, you guys know what's going to happen. It's going to look really weird. Okay, so let me put the clipping mask back on the shell color. So I got that for all my objects, so like for the cat, let me sample the cat color here, and I'm on the cat color layer, B for brush tool, and only the cat object will be painted in this, with the system we got set up, because we have all these clipping masks. So that's all very cool and wonderful and groovy. So you can kind of like rough in, where the objects are, and you can select groups of stuff. If you have to move them, shift them right or left, you can use select all these layers, and you can select the move tool, and you can move your composition within the canvas if necessary. What else? The only other thing I'm going to show you is make a background layer for the background. So like click on the first photo layer, make a new layer and call it background. And this is where you will paint in your background. Duh, right? Okay, so it's not brain surgery. For this background, it's kind of cool. I can actually use my tool here. Let's see if there's something really weird going on here. This is not working. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Let me see. I'm using a lasso tool, and what I could do is I'm just going to guess at it here for now, because I don't want to I don't want this video to go on forever and ever and ever and ever. and I'm sure you don't either. Let me sample the color here. So just be mindful of what layer you're on at all times, right? And so that's my. I could just get things just roughed in by doing it this way. So I think you get the gist of just how to get these objects roughed in here, and I hope this helps with your project. Let me just paint this in really quickly. So long story short, the way to get this stuff roughed in is to just like have these basic shapes, have your clipping masks set up, and have a similar setup to this, and just be mindful of what layer you're on when you're painting. It's real easy to choose a wrong layer, like to paint like on the cutout layer instead of the color layer. So like make sure things are named logically. For the cutouts, stick the word cutout in there. For the clipping masks, stick the word color in there, and life will be good.